Good day. Cup of coffee. Chief Coffee Chats. Today I'm going to talk about Ukraine and all the so-called millions and billions of dollars that we're sending over there. I looked at the first package deal and I can't remember how much it was. I think it was like 80 billion or something like that. I don't know. Can't remember how much. No, not 80 billion. But half of that money was earmarked for factories here in the United States to replace the munitions that we were selling. Now, in a way, I'm kind of upset because Ukraine and Russia are fighting the war that I first trained for back in 80, 85, 86, 87 until the wall fell down. Because now we're actually using equipment from that era because the Russians have lost so much, and now we've sent a bunch of 113s over there. And the only time I had 113s in a unit was when I was with the 1st Infantry Division at Fort Riley, Kansas. Never saw a 113 again throughout my career in an active Army unit. They all went to, looks like I'm going out of focus here, in I don't know what's going on with my camera. I was in focus, now it looks like I'm really out of focus. I can't tell. Sorry, I'm playing with it. I'm still reading the book and now I look like I'm in super focus. Let's see how long this lasts. And so now we're cleaning out our 113s, which is a good thing because they're from the Vietnam era, from the late 60s on. I don't know how new even the 557 and that's the higher level 113, because you had the 113, a 114, and the 557. And a 557 was the command vehicle because you could stand up in the back of it without bumping your head, not unless you were pretty tall. And a 114 is a little bit taller than a 113 because the 113 was just like a low rider, so to speak. They're fast. So we're cleaning those out of our reserve units. And the reserve units are probably very thankful because they're spending lots of money to maintain those things because they're so old and parts are probably hard to find. And you can't cannibalize one system, at least back in my time serving. We cannibalized one vehicle when we went to the Gulf War, but all the parts had to get returned to it, and then the parts that were for the other vehicles would be put back onto that one so we could get that one back to operational level. You just can't cannibalize a vehicle and write it off your books. The armed forces, that's a no-no. So you just can't get rid of one vehicle to satisfy a bunch of other vehicles. So, and then now we're cleaning out like our old Stingers, our old, I even heard TOWs went over. TOWs were built before I joined the military, and I never fired a TOW, T-O-W. I fired not a Stinger, not a Javelin. I can't remember what I fired over. AT-4? Yeah, I think I fired an AT-4 when I was over in the Gulf War because our battalion got a few dozen of those. So we had to expend all our open ammunition because we didn't want to repack it and ship it home. So it was better for us to shoot it up because the day I went to the range, I got to fire a Claymore, the AT-4, and heard a command I never heard before on a firing range. Grab your 15 rounds of magazines, or your 15 magazines of your M16. And we were just basically told, get on the firing line. When you get down to, I think it was 2 clips, so you just willy-nilly just fired 13 clips of ammunition. Barrels were getting hot. I'm surprised we didn't melt barrels away, some people. But we couldn't go full auto. They still said, don't go to full auto. I think we only had a 3-round burst anyway, so we couldn't go full auto on the M16s we had. So, I mean, we got rid of all this ammunition because nobody wanted to take the time and count it, restack it, repack it, and ship it back to America. I mean, I don't know how many M16s we left with the Kuwaiti Army. We could have gave them all this ammunition along with it, but... And then we had 5 companies in my battalion, and our headquarters company, our largest company, opened up every case of ammunition that they had. That's why we had 15 magazines to shoot that day, because largest company that had the most ammunition. So, like I said, Ukraine-Russian war is fighting the war I didn't get to do. Now, of course, they were still saying that a lot of the Ukrainian casualties are caused by artillery. Well, Napoleon started that because, you know, he made the artillery the master of the battlefield. And now when you dig a trench, yes, you're back to trench warfare from World War I, and what do? You got to bomb a trench. So, yes, you're going to die in a trench from an explosion. So, I mean, all these millions and billions of dollars that everybody's screaming and hollering about, I would say about 9/10, if more, is munitions, vehicles. So it's not just raw cash. Now, there was a few programs that I did read that was raw cash, but I can't control that. But it's not like he's just writing a check and Zelensky is cashing it in and coming to America and purchasing, you know, from the stocks. He's getting broken down stuff. He's getting stuff that just got put together, probably to ship over there. I've seen a few of the 113s actually destroyed in some videos, and they even booby-trapped one of them. It was quite hilarious. So, I mean, and then all these politicians are screaming and hollering, well, we could have built the wall, you know, 2 times around the country and blah, blah this and blah, blah that. I'm not going to get into politics. You know which way I lean. And I'm not going to have people try to bash me, but... Because even when we went to the Gulf War, they told stateside, quit eating MREs. We're going to ship all the MREs over to the soldiers in the Gulf War. And we didn't have the heaters yet. We got the heaters later when we were over there. But at first month or so, we didn't have heaters. So we were actually getting MREs that were expired, so to speak. We would look at a box and it said, oh, it expired like maybe 1 or 2 years ago, but its expiration date just means that's the day it should normally be consumed by, but it's still got some freshness to it. Out of all the old boxes and even the new boxes we opened up, we had one box, we opened it up, and they're packed so tight that you sometimes have to struggle to rip the first one out because the vacuum sealing and the box is just perfect for the 12 to fit in there. Somebody pulled the first one out of a box and the bag next to it went and it ballooned up. And we all looked at one another. That one goes straight into the fire. Nobody opened it up to see what is bad. So out of, like I said, about all the boxes we only had one bad MRE. I mean, even the British Army at first, they were sending their in-laws. They were sending their ones about ready to expire because I did watch videos saying that some of the munitions that we have sent misfire or no work. That's going to happen even with stuff. So we're not spending raw cash. We are cleaning out the stocks because you have to rotate the stocks, because even when the Missouri was used during the Gulf War, it was shooting shells from World War II because we didn't make any more battleships. So why would we make battleship ammunition when we had all this battleship ammunition still lying around from World War II? Now, whether that's all been destroyed or what, I have no idea. So in a way, I get upset, and then I get upset that everybody says, oh man, just let them have, let Russia have the Donets and the Lugansk. There's a video, there were supposed to be 3 parts to it, but they only made 2 parts. It's called the 93 or the 93rd, but it's 93. It's put out by the Ukrainians, And in the early days, they were going deep behind Donetsk and Lugansk cities that are the capitals of those two oblasts, as they're called over there. Their provinces are called oblasts. And the 93rd was deep in Donetsk territory. And the people, the locals there that are now still part of Donetsk, were coming out to feed them. And they were saying, oh, the Russians are over there. And they were saying the Russians, not the Donetsk, you know, volunteer units. It was the Russians. So back even in 2014 when this war kicked off originally, the people wanted Ukraine. I met one person online. She got upset. She says, can you, because she lived in the Donetsk region, or Oblast, and she wrote me, she says, can you believe it that they want us all to speak Ukrainian? And she went to Russia. She left. I'm like, well, I never responded to her. But then again, that law that said you had to speak Ukraine only did not pass, which is a good thing. I mean, yeah, it might pass now. I don't know. I know a lot of people that I know over there, they're not going to speak Russian again. They'll probably tear down all their Russian signs after this war is over and replace everything with Ukrainian verbiage. And I won't blame them. I will not blame them, because Russians pronounce it Kiev, the Ukrainians pronounce it Kiev. And yes, I'm a little biased about this situation because my fiance is stuck over there. She's on the 9th floor of a 9-story building, because a lot of those apartments were 9 floors. Why they picked the magic number of 9, I have no idea. Maybe that's some lucky number in the old Soviet days, but I don't know. So that's my 2 cents about all this millions and billions of dollars that are just disappearing to Ukraine. It's cleaning out our warehouses, cleaning out our old stock so we can replace it with new stock. So in case maybe we have to go to war, we'll have stuff that is freshly made and hopefully will all work. So this is Chief out. Whether you like my opinion or not, I don't care. I really don't. You can't hurt me. I got tough skin. I'm one of those baby boomers. I got tough skin, even though my weed whacker sent part of the thread out there and clobbered me really good today. But see, that's what it takes to penetrate my tough skin, weed whacking. So this is Chief out. Freedom's not free. You know what to do with the bet.